Good morning. It is another bright and shiny day. It is now about 9:15 or so, and the team have been busy fixing the lower two boards on the lower part of the wall that they didn't get done yesterday, placing the fabric and stapling it to the top of the bottom board, and laying the drain in place. As you can see, they are now placing the P-metal on top of the drainage pipe between the wall and the fabric. You should be able to see at some point in the video that they're using a half a sheet of board to support the fabric while the P's go in, just so that it doesn't bulge all out of the shape. And then the clay goes on the other side of the board, and then they move the board down to the next section and repeat the process. We were shuffling the trailers down the hill one after the other so that the two materials can be shoveled into where they need to go. There was a reasonable amount of banter as part of this, and it's to be expected, as people nudged into each other or when someone was in the wrong place when a shovelful of clay came through. Before they got to the bottom, they ran out of P-metal, which is not unexpected. And so at that point, it was nudging 10:30. Smoker was called and someone was dispatched to collect some more P-metal.
We need a Big Mac for this after.
Or alternatively, some real food.
Yeah. Oh yeah, pretty much. That'd be good.
After Smoko, the team carried on with the P's and clay. Once that was done, they started to install the rest of the retaining boards. The plan is to get all the boards in today. Around lunchtime, Warren and I headed off to the engineer to discuss their design for the top wall and to clarify some things around that. We discovered there were some things that they weren't aware of to do with the house above, i.e. it has a full basement, now more or less, and as part of that it has a block retaining wall on the far side of the house. That should mean that the new retaining wall on this side of the house does not need to be as long as they had initially designed it. Once I was home after the meeting, I sent them a copy of the construction drawings for the house. Now that they have that information, they will revisit their design and hopefully we will have a final design that we can move forward with. As part of those discussions, I was reminded that sometimes I use expressions where I know exactly what I mean, but the other party has no idea. That isn't their fault. In part, it's because of diverse upbringings, and it can also be because of cultural differences. In this instance, it was both of those. What I said was, when I talked about taking a belt and braces approach to a particular aspect of what we plan to do, this brought a somewhat blank look. I explained that it is where you do two things to be sure of an outcome, when technically only one is needed. The idiom, of course, refers to wearing both a belt and braces to make sure that your pants don't fall down. It was a useful meeting, and we all have a clearer understanding of what now needs to be done. On our side, next steps will be to ask Pete the digger man to have a look at it to see if he is confident that he can do what is needed. This is not about his competence, it is about whether he thinks the equipment he has will be able to do what is needed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Bro, just go 3720. Hello. Gonna lift that end up, Charles. Go. Lift that end up, brother. Lift my end up, yeah. How much? Go. Yeah, there. Cool.
Thor's busy here with his hammer.
And we are now at the end of day 3. The team have gone from here for today. They have another job they need to have done before tomorrow morning. But progress has been good. All of the retaining boards are in, so the next job is to trim the tops off the posts and then put the capping on the top, and that's scheduled for tomorrow morning. Let me show you. So this is the very bottom end, and then it goes all the way up. So that is good progress. I'm pleased with where they're up to. We have decided also to put more metal behind the wall, so it won't be P metal. The P metal is underneath the fabric down here, but we will put some bigger shingle, I'll call it, in behind here, probably, I don't know, 400 high maybe, so 2 boards. The boards are roughly 200 high, and that will just mean there's better drainage. And then on this side, the plan is to, he falling down, is to box this up with a bit of 4x2, so it'll be, I don't know, 90-95 millimeters high. We will, or somebody will, drill into here, into this concrete nib, and we'll put some starters in there, some reinforcing rod coming up into that 100mm high, and that'll be boxed up so that will and it will be concreted all the way across to the wall. What that will mean is that the concrete will come about somewhere around 100 up the board here, and that will seal all of that off, and that will be a good thing. And it will be a lot neater all the way up here and easy to look after. Good progress. I have hung the fibre box back on the wall, and tomorrow I will sort out that tap so that it is fixed to the wall where it was always intended to go. Alrighty, I think that's it for today. Hopefully it's been fun to watch. See you later. I needed to go to town for several hours this morning, so set up the GoPro to do a time-lapse recording while I was gone. I don't know what happened, but the GoPro seems to have had a somewhat different plan. It recorded fine for the first while and then shut down. There are a couple of restarts, which is odd in itself, and then nothing. It was sitting in the sun, so it may have overheated. GoPros are not really designed to be used in a static situation. They're an action camera, i.e. they are designed to be moving and hopefully getting some breeze. Anyway, as you can see, the team were setting about installing the capping on the top of the wall. The first part of this process is to remove the tops of the poles. In order to make sure that the cuts are accurate, they fixed a 100x50 on the side opposite to the retaining boards, and this helped to guide the chainsaw. Additionally, while Wes was using the chainsaw, another team member was on the other side, letting him know if he was straying from the required line. You can see towards the end of the time lapse that they laid out the capping boards on the drive to ensure that it was all going to work. It was then just a matter of cutting them in the right places and fixing them into place. It was at that point that the camera quit. I do expect that these boards will cup to some degree in the sun, but fortunately, due to their situation, they are screened from the most intense afternoon sun. Good afternoon. The team have finished for the week, and you can no doubt see the wall behind me. For now, I have pinned the cable to the ground just so that it doesn't end up on the drive and somebody end up driving on it, because that might not do so well. So I have agreed with Warren that I will have a bit of a clean up along here and try to remove some of the plaster that is still attached to the curb. So you can see it here, there's plaster on top of the curb here. I know from experience that that can be quite difficult to remove, but we'll give it a go. And also I will bury the cable under the dirt so that it's not in direct contact with the concrete when the concrete happens. Hopefully I will get some of these things done tomorrow. I won't get all the plaster off tomorrow, I know that, but I just want to have a bit of a clean up down here. And because of the busyness of my day, I also didn't do the tap today, so I will do that tomorrow and just have a bit of a tidy up down here. As well as that, while we're going up, as we walk up, I'll show you the capping on here. So that's looking great. There is still a balustrade or fence, whatever you want, that needs to go on top of that. Because this wall is more than a metre high, it needs to, and because there may well be people up there, i.e. me, I think it is a good idea to have a balustrade up there, because I don't really want to topple off there down onto the concrete. I don't bounce quite the same way I used to. Another part of my cleanup tomorrow, because I told the team not to do it, they were offering, and I said no, don't worry, I'll sort that out, is this over here. So I will bring the trailer down and gather up this wood, and also this pile up here, and I will move that all to other places. This lot here will probably, most of it anyway, will go back in under the house up here in preparation for when we need to do that wall. There's a big post there. I may move that post, I may not. That second lot of posts that came were a lot heavier than the first lot, i.e. they still have got quite a bit of moisture in them, whereas I think the first lot had dried out to some degree. This pile of clay I'm going to leave here because the digger can pick that up and chuck it over behind the wall, but this little pile down here I will deal with, because it's full of roots and things, and I don't want that going in behind the wall. Don't want any more roots and things that will potentially grow into Agapanthae and Acanthus mollis than we absolutely have to have in behind there, or ivy for that matter. So that's it for this week and for this video. it has been another very pleasant day, and still is, as you can see. It started out quite cloudy and I was a bit, is it going to clear? But it did reasonably quickly, and so that was good. They were able to crack on and get on with things. So a lesser team today because it didn't need a big team, and but they got through what they needed to do. So it all looks very good. I am pleased. They will come back at some point. Well, initially someone will come back with the digger man and the shingle to go in behind the wall, and just to manage that process, and then getting the clay over there. But as far as doing the concrete at the bottom and that might wait for a week, so we will see. I also need to start looking at and doing some costing for the fence on the top of here. I can probably do that myself, we'll see. Not making any promises, but yeah, it would be good to do it if I can. Rightio, bye.